My first question, is this indictment legally sound or is it politically motivated?
Well, as a former state prosecutor in New York, I got to tell you, it's flimsy at best. You know, there's no saying you can indict a ham sandwich. And in this case, the real problem here is the vindictiveness or the feel of vindictiveness, not from politics, but because we have very public firing of the Eastern District federal prosecutor. You have the hiring of one of the president's main people. You have a declination memo within DOJ, if that's true. And you have several prosecutors, special prosecutors, remember the special prosecutor even before then, as well as other prosecutors and inspector generals who looked at this and found nothing. Now, under the federal rules, under 12B, there is a motion to dismiss for vindictiveness. Normally, it happens after trial when you would employ it with additional charges. Here, though, I think every time the president opens his mouth about Comey and says all that he says about Comey, which is projection on his part, is evident to be put before a federal judge. I don't care who appointed that federal judge, right? No federal judge wants a BS complaint or indictment in front of them, and I think they're going to make a motion to dismiss. Whether the government appeals it or not, or the White House appeals it or not, because, you know, the White House and DOJ are one and the same now with this indictment. But be that as it may, we'll have to take a close look at it. Look for them to move to dismiss immediately. Bill, and by the way, Eastern District of Virginia is the rocket docket, so it's going to get some action quick.
Bill, I do want to pose the same question to you. Is this accountability at the highest level, or do you think this is dangerous overreach?
No, I think it's accountability. Number one, the evidence was presented to a grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia. That is a collar county of Washington, D.C. It is a very liberal county filled with government workers. They apparently presented 3 charges. The grand jury rejected 1, but returned 2 charges for the indictment. Number 2, there's been an ongoing investigation within the FBI led by Kash Patel and the other leadership. We don't know what documents they have. We don't know what electronic records they have. The witnesses in this trial, if it makes it to trial, and I agree with Scott, they're going to file a motion to dismiss, but if this makes it to trial, it's not going to be a bunch of MAGA folks taking the stand. It's going to be Jim Comey's inner circle and other FBI officials and DOJ officials who are going to testify as to whether he did leak or authorize leaks. And then falsely testified. And the obstruction charge, to me, is the one that should be most concerning for him, because it's going to go beyond the single statement. It could open up a lot of other.
But you got to have witnesses, and you got to have evidence. You know, facts are stubborn. So McCabe, the former deputy FBI individual, denies the lie, denies that Comey told him to look, or that he was the leak. No, McCabe has been on the record saying this, and he's going to be the defense's #1 witness. And watch this, the prosecution is going to have to use McCabe
I'm not sure
too.
McCabe is person number 3.
Okay, well,
I mean,
whatever person he
is,
you got it. No witness, no case. And if he is or he isn't, if they've got more, so be it. But you've got the making of a political vindictive prosecution here. It smells bad. Well, and it's not going to pass the mustard test with a federal judge.
Let me jump in and just say this. All the Democrats that are pounding the table, with all due respect to my
Comey's no friend of ours, by the way.
I was just going to say, I remember what happened with Hillary Clinton. But one of the things that I would point out is that where were they when President Trump was charged 4 times, right? 91 counts. Four cases that really had no basis in fact or law. We saw this. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. They stuck up for the rule of law. So the people who actually had credibility from the Democratic side, I'll listen to them because they tell me that they're principled on this issue. But a lot of them were spiking the football the minute that this stuff came out on President Trump. And let's see what happens with this Comey.
But Trump drove that narrative, if you will, and it was all based on facts. And I don't think the president ever said a word about Donald Trump. He did all the talking, and he would have been convicted probably if he hadn't run for office and won.